Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the opportunity to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host, Mike Lepre, here with my co-host, Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 133 of Screwball, and we are coming now in the middle of the off-season and the middle of award season with this episode. This episode is going to be tailored mostly around just kind of our general thoughts of the 2022 season now that we've seen it in its entirety and start to see some awards coming through and some just nominations. But we're also going to do a little bit kind of prediction style of the awards. By the time this goes live, you already have seen Rookie of the Year and I believe Manager of the Year would have already been announced. So we're just going to give our quick thoughts on that. We're going to give our quick thoughts on just what we saw of the 2022 season and maybe some of the teams, the main teams that we wanted to highlight here. So, we don't have any news or anything really yet to talk about. We had some gold gloves and platinum gloves given out, but we want to focus this more on just more of a general set of what's going on. So I think the best place to start is just kind of, I'm going to go through some teams here and just kind of thoughts I had some of these teams, and we'll just kind of branch off from there, and it'll kind of branch off into other teams and just a general, the 22 season as an overview. So the first team I have here that actually first came to mind when I was thinking about like kind of what needs to change is the Angels.
Yeah, well.
I just simply put in my notes here, they have a serious identity problem and they may need just a complete overhaul at this point. I don't think Ohtani's saving you. I don't think Trout's saving you. You spent a lot of money on these guys.
Phil Nevin ain't going to save you.
Phil Nevin is not saving you. No matter what the front office doesn't seem to work. It seems like on paper they've put a great product out there every year, and it just never works out. And people get hurt and this and that. But I think the Angels was one of the first teams that just came to mind as like what needs to change. And I just think they almost, like I said, maybe they just need a complete overhaul. Why not just start from scratch and see what prospects you got and go from there?
Yeah, the Angels need to just give it up at this point. They need to do simply kind of what the White Sox did some years ago, like Chris Sale and Quintana. And I thought that White Sox team was actually a lot more competitive and closer to competing than the Angels are now. But they just gave up. And they said, all right, this isn't working. Instead of faltering with at best mediocrity, just give it up and let's just figure it out. Because you're going to wait another year or two, and Trout's going to be too old to get the much value out of him. Just do what you got to do, move on with your life, and be bad for 2 years with the possibility of trading some of these guys now and turning into prospects and a quicker turnaround instead of waiting for the long, death.
Right. I have some other teams here. I'm not going to, I only picked a few. I'm not going to go through all 30 teams. But I have, the Astros. Astros are here to stay. I think they proved that with winning a World Series after losing Correa, and they get a new all-star shortstop. I think the GM firing was a bit strange. That made me raise my eyebrow
Dusty
at least.
On a one-year contract, which I would think means this is his goodbye.
Yeah.
Which then can also alter the franchise.
Yeah, so, as much as I like where the franchise is at the same time, they make some decisions that I'm like, well, do you think that the window is now closed? Or because
it's got to be closing. Verlander's 40 years old and free agent. Altuve's getting older. Dusty's on a one-year contract. All these guys won now. After you win, you kind of ask for money at that point. So we'll see what happens there too.
Right. Moving, the next three teams I have here are all, borderline or if not 100-win teams. The Yankees, I just put that they have the roster and they need to make some adjustments in the roster, as every team does. But I think maybe an upper management change is what needs to happen for them. Yeah. I think they just have a big problem with the product, the output of the product on the field.
They need a depth. Depth, I think, would be big for the Yankees. And they need a mix of players.
Mm-hmm.
They have the same player up and down the lineup. Strikeout, 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 strikeout. They need a mix of players who are going to make contact. This guy runs the bases. This guy steals bases. This guy does this. And they need a new voice, new player voice as a leader. Because whoever the other one was, which we all probably can take a guess of who it is, ain't working. The players ain't listening to him or something because they falter every single year.
Yep.
So there has to be some sort of change in the fundamental of the team because they're just not. You can't win 40 games out of 45 games and then lose all them games and then be a mediocre team.
Yeah.
There's obviously some sort of problem.
Yeah, I agree. They just they seem to have somewhat of an identity crisis, and I think you're going to see there's a branching path here for the Yankees with Aaron Judge or without, and there's going to be two different teams with or without him. So I think that's their biggest change that's going to happen right now, and from there, I don't know. Dodgers, just quick, the Dodgers really, as far as a roster, don't need much.
Yeah, keep spending all the money to get all the players. That's all they got to do.
Yeah.
Dodgers.
The note I have here is they keep living and dying by Dave Roberts, and that might need to change at this point. And they haven't indicated they are going to, but I think that's what needs to change.
The league's lucky that the Dodgers consistently run Dave Roberts out there as a manager. Because anybody with half a brain wins 130 games with that team, probably wins the World Series every year.
Yeah,
Dusty Baker, Buck Showalter, any one of those managers would maybe go undefeated with that team.
I know, it's amazing that they keep running him. That was what I put. I think Dave Roberts is their key problem because they have a great roster. There's no problem with the roster, especially because they don't care about money, so they'll just get whoever they want.
Yeah, he single-handedly drags them down.
Yeah. Next team I have is the Mets. I think just keep spending, keep being like the Yankees of old. Prospect development, they have some good prospects. And I said stay with Buck. Don't pull the trigger too quick on Buck because it's usually what happens with franchises.
Yeah,
and I think that he's only gotten you as far as you know what I mean. I think the roster's good. Don't get me wrong.
Well, the roster's not there anymore.
Yeah,
that's the problem for the Mets. Mets have a lot of holes everywhere now. They have,
and that's why I put keep the spending.
Well, they have 8 free
foot
agents,
on the gas.
Key free agents or so. So they got to spend. I would like to see spending by the Mets because all the talk we had, right? Well, we're spending. They bought some players last year and things like that. But you laid an egg, and you lied to your fan base at the deadline. If you're going to spend and you want to put money and you want to win, then going out and getting Daniel Vogelback as your prime piece at the deadline was pathetic.
Yeah.
And I said that at the time, and I'll say it now, and I'll say it 5 years from now. So if you actually want to be competitive and you actually want to say that we're going to spend money and we're going to be a different Mets team, then you got to be a different Mets team every chance you have a chance to be a different Mets team.
Yep.
At the deadline, in free agency, when a player gets waived, when a player gets released, whatever you got to do, you got to be all over it. Like, you got to be, this guy could go here, and probably the Mets. He can go here, maybe the Mets. Here, you could be involved on every free agent.
Right.
Every trade. Not come away with Daniel Vogelback. Not that he's a bad player, just when you're a team that had 100 wins and that was your prime get at the deadline, you feel like that's probably why you got bounced out of the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, so that was my key takeaway from their season was just keep the spending. Keep the foot on the gas, keep the star power up, and honestly just if you can keep with that and keep the roster built every year with Buck there, I think you can end up in good places. But it's still the Mets, so you never know.
Yep.
After them, I have the Phillies. I think that, what I put here was that the last season was encouraging. Add some pitching depth and add some depth around the roster and kind of keep somewhat of the same core there, and good things will happen. I think that I liked what I saw out of the Phillies.
The Phillies needed a superstar to match with Harper. Schwarber's a role player. What he is, he's a 200 hitter, right? He's just a power hitter, masher. Castellanos could be really good. They need that shortstop. Bogarts, the Correa, the Trey Turner, somebody.
Right.
A Judge, even. I don't know. They need some sort of other superstar to match a Harper. Them other guys could be good, and they're good at times in spurts. But, let's be honest. Schwarber's really a role player. 200 hitter. He doesn't play good defense. He hasn't really run the bases. He hits home runs, and he gets hot, and he hits home runs. He gets on base. Castellanos is a good player. He's never really a superstar. You got rid of Gene Segura, which was head-scratching.
Yeah. Your
pitching is really good, but are they superstars? No, they needed another superstar in the lineup, I think.
Yeah.
And someone who's a little different than the Schwarber, and they need somebody with a little bit more average. Trey Turner, Bogarts, someone like that would fit them, I think.
Yeah, star shortstop pickup would be exactly what they need. So, but I do think that what you saw was encouraging, and I think they have a great roster. And I think if they just kind of just build on it instead of trying to get too fancy with it, as far as trying to mix and match here and there and trying to do too much, just stick with what you got, add some star power, add some depth, and you'll be good to go. I think the team's good.
Bring somebody in that's well likable, not to ruin the franchise. Trey Turner would fit right in, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. He would be a great pickup.
Yeah, so we'll see there. But yeah, I think the Phillies need to just kind of add something with Harper. Someone's that's a little bit more of a cornerstone.
Right.
Then, when he's hot, he's good. little bit more consistency.
We've got our Judge and Stanton. We've got our Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. We've got our, you know what I mean? Like
Harper and Schwarber isn't it?
No. You got Harper. You got the one piece.
Harper and Wheeler. It's like I don't know if that quite fits.
No.
You need that Harper and somebody.
Yeah. I've got Altuve and Bregman. I've got Jordan and Bregman. Whatever you want to do with the Astros, but you know what I mean? Like you've got something. So
Acuna and whatever everybody the Braves have.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we got Acuna and Austin Riley.
Steal Swanson.
Yeah.
Would be a little bit more of a cornerstone. Something that gives you, and then let Schwarber be more of that role player.
Right.
Well, if he gets hot, he's like, this guy's unbelievable. But when he's cold, he's not a cornerstone.
Yeah, he's not the guy.
Exactly.
When you put your weight on, yeah. The next three teams I'm just going to put as one bundle package because I think that even though one of them is in quite a different spot than them, I think they all kind of sit in the same boat. I have the Orioles, Pirates, and Guardians because the Guardians are such a young team. I have all of them just sticking with the youth. Orioles and Pirates, I say keep with the young stars. You see what you've got, keep bringing them up and keep working that farm system. The Guardians are just a little ahead of you, but same idea. Because the Guardians were the youngest team in the league, I think, or youngest team. Yeah. I said the big thing with those three teams in particular, especially Orioles and Pirates, is open the checkbook. You got these young guys. Fill in roles. You can spend money. It's okay. You know what I mean? And some of these markets, they have money. And they just refuse to, the GMs or whoever it is.
Every team has money.
Yeah.
Now, some teams might have more than others, but every team has enough money to pay players and be very, very successful.
Yeah.
In the Orioles case, Pirates case, I think Cleveland's a little different, but Baltimore and Pirates, sign some free agents, right? Keep the young guys, sign some free agents, sign some guys who maybe you take a shot at, right? Maybe they can kind of bounce back, or guys who are younger yet and sign them, and maybe so they're going to be there for the next couple of years. But also for the idea that, hey, at the deadline we struggle, trade piece.
Yeah.
Trade piece. Same with Baltimore could do that. Pittsburgh can do that too. Get some of these back end free agents where if he gets hot, bang, send him later. See you later. Pittsburgh, you got relievers, don't keep them. Relievers are such a big priority in baseball right now, and you are not winning. You do not need them.
Yeah.
You don't need a closer. You have
Right.
45 wins. You don't need a closer.
Yeah, it's
right?
a top
But
priority.
Sign some of them guys. Give guys, man, this guy has some nice stuff. If we can get it fixed out, we can get him at the deadline. Bednar, gone. See you later. You get the prices for him and help flip. Don't just be cheap because you could put some money on it and it turns into another player.
Right.
A team goes, damn, I need a reliever at the deadline. I'll give you more than I should.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh knows well about that.
Mm-hmm.
Look what they did with the glass now and the nonsense just to get Chris Archer to just win 80 games. That made no sense.
Yeah.
Teams will do stupid stuff at the deadline when they think that they're really that close.
Yeah.
So make those pieces. And Cleveland, try, right?
Yeah.
Try to get someone that can play outfield. Try to get people that play baseball. Not just go whatever the hell they had over the year. Who was that guy that had in center field for 4 years now? They keep saying he's going to be good, and he ain't nothing. The center fielder. I can't think of his name.
Miles Straw?
No, not Miles Straw.
I was going to say.
I can't think of his name now. He's
Yeah,
been there for 4 years now.
I'm not sure.
And he always comes up, and he's terrible. And get a center fielder. The last time they had a good center fielder. Grady Sizemore?
Grady Sizemore for that little bit, yeah.
They keep going with these terrible I can't think of the guy's name now. I don't know why I can't think of it, but not Oscar Gonzalez.
No,
Oscar Mercado.
Oh,
he's
Oscar
terrible.
Mercado. Yeah.
They talk about him every year.
I know.
This is the year. All right, yeah. And Ben Francisco's coming back. It's his year too, right? And Dominic Brown, right?
Yeah.
Enough of it. Get some guys. Jose Ramirez gave you the discount of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Go get a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, roll with the young guys. That's true. Roll with the young, but get a couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, Carl Santana's not going to, let's not bring in Carl Santana. Okay. Like, get something that's going to help.
Mm-hmm.
So Cleveland just needs to, you're competitive.
Yeah.
Either put a little bit of money into it or just get rid of everybody. Don't sit in the middle ground and hope, if they have a good year. Not for if they have a good year. How about, as long as they do decent, we'll be good.
Right.
Instead of if they have a really good year, we'll be all right.
Yeah, that's why I have them as kind of with the Orioles and Pirates idea of stick with the youth, because I think they got a lot of encouraging stuff out of their young guys. And like I said, open the checkbook. Be willing to bring stars in. Just say, hey, we got a good franchise over here. We're knocking at the door. Come on over. So we'll see what happens with those teams. Again, Guardians a little ahead of the Orioles and Pirates, but I think the Orioles and Pirates will be there soon. I only have two more teams here. I just want to kind of hit all the facets of the year that we've seen. The second to last team I have is the White Sox. Roster is in pretty good shape. I think there needs to be some adjustments. You lost your first baseman. You're bringing back Tim Anderson. You lost some depth pieces. And you're kind of in a weird place right now. But I think management change and bringing in the right pieces, the right piece there, and then just adding some pieces to it, I think could be the fix that you were looking for. I just think Tony La Russa just didn't work out. Nothing against the White Sox or Tony La Russa. It just wasn't a match that worked. And I think that in that, and mixed with some minor adjustments, I think that the White Sox could be prime and ready to go because the roster's too good to just let it go to waste this many years.
Yeah, well, I agree with you there. The only problem is I already heard reports saying that they're mostly considering smaller names and trades for the idea to try not going over the luxury and stuff like that, to try making more moves to that. So, not sure why they have the talent there if they're not really willing to spend and keep it, but the idea sounds like they're going to try trading and kind of look for smaller deals and not really give up the big money, which is okay. They have a lot of really good players. They don't really need to do that, but they got to make sure they're savvy with that. Also, my thought with the White Sox was a poor decision, a head coach, and I have no idea who that guy is, the manager. He could be really good, but here's an idea. The Royals had an opening for a manager. The Royals bench coach didn't get that job for the Royals.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason for that. So you took the Royals bench coach for your opening, but the Royals didn't want their own bench coach for the head. Doesn't that seem weird?
Yeah, shouldn't there be a red flag there?
So I have no idea who the guy is. The guy might be a great manager. Hopefully he is, but just thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Seems like he could have came in with more of a slam dunk pick. Buck Showalter, right? The guys were like, hey, we're ready to go. Instead of a guy like, oh, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, let's give this guy a shot.
Really got to go to Kevin Cash or the Gabe Kapler and it's like, let's risk it here. Get someone who's like, hey, this guy has, got some catch behind his name here, right?
Yeah, for a team that the window opened and just as quickly shut, it seems like almost
in a division that's just as easy as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you just don't win the division. Like, you just walk in and win it. I know the Guardians are good, and I didn't give them quite as much credit as they deserve, but I mean, geez, with that roster, you should just walk in and win it every year.
And another team that needs chemistry because, like you said, La Russa up and down, all the problem. So there was something fundamentally wrong there too because you had too much talent. You got to have a leader, and you got to have team chemistry where you can fight through things like that. Right. And they never had a shot.
Yeah, and I think that's just the main problem is chemistry and just something wasn't right in the clubhouse because it's not the roster as far as talent. It's just there's something in the water there.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
and
going on.
You had some bad injuries and things like that, but I don't know. They got to think about. They got to think about what they're doing because they did the rebuild, the quick rebuild, and I give them all the credit in the world. That was the quickest rebuild.
Yeah.
And now they're afraid to do what they want to do. It's like, well, do something.
Yeah, you got to work something out because it's getting time.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, but those are some big teams that have big say in the coming year. Otherwise, we'll get into more of this in the coming episodes with the off-season lookout. Things like that. But this is some teams that kind of caught everyone's eye throughout the year for good or bad. Even through Detroit in there.
Yeah,
because Detroit unbelievably underperformed. So what do? I think they keep continuing. Keep putting some money into it. Don't go nuts. I thought you maybe went a little nuts with the Rodriguez and Baez. Maybe you did a little too much there. But continue to throw some money at it and let these young guys. That was a bad year, bad injuries. Just bad breaks. Let the year kind of turn. Division's easier, and kind of hope you have a little bit better luck this year, and then you can kind of fly. But don't give up, Detroit.
Yeah,
it's just too much, too early to give up. So
they got a lot ahead of them, so I wouldn't.
In a weaker division.
Yeah, so. Yeah, you could make some noise in that division for sure.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. See what happens.
Yeah,
we're gonna have off-season outlook episode, and we're gonna go into a lot more of the stuff in the free agents themselves and where they fit and where they should go.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really give too much other than just kind of quick notes on what I thought was best for the team and where I think they are at the current moment. So we'll get into who you can sign or trade for that could be a fix for that problem. But let's move on to the awards, the 4 major categories we have. Again, as recording this, we've only seen the Rookie of the Year announced, but as this goes live, you'll have seen the Manager of the Year as well.
Oh no, Cy Young will be the same day.
Yeah, it'll be same day. So later, after you're listening to this, it'll be you'll know your Cy Young Award winners. So I'll just quick run through my 2 Rookie of the Years, who I thought was going to win it and who actually won it. because we actually have that answer.
Yeah.
So for the AL Rookie of the Year, the finalists were Stephen Kwan, Julio Rodriguez, and Adley Rutschman. I had Julio Rodriguez. Thought it was pretty much a slam dunk. He did win it, almost unanimous.
Yeah.
I think with the exception of one vote. And then NL Rookie of the Year was Brendan Donovan, Michael Harris Jr., or the Michael Harris II, and Spencer Strider. I had Spencer Strider winning, and I thought that was actually almost a slam dunk. Although I see Michael Harris as the alternative, and Michael Harris did, and in fact, win it pretty handedly. I think he had like 22 votes for first place, so I was wrong on that one. I really did think it was going to be Strider, but yeah. So your rookies of the year are Julio Rodriguez and Harris. I had Julio Rodriguez and Strider, which I still don't think is a bad pick. Strider pitched his ass off this year. So.
Yeah. I had Julio Rodriguez. He ended up winning, and I did have Spencer Strider as well. AL side, I really thought Adley Rutschman should have got more credit. I think Julio Rodriguez is just, the fancy name and the talk of the town, and everyone loved him, and he talked so good, and he was dominant, don't get me wrong. But Adley Rutschman's presence on that Orioles team literally went from 105 losses, 110 losses maybe, and all of a sudden they were in the playoff hunt. By just Adley Rutschman. So I thought that should have got a little bit more, should close it up. It's just that, Julio Rodriguez was a slam dunk. He came up, he could have had 3 at-bats, and they would have gave it to him.
Yeah.
Some guys they give, they love. And nothing wrong. Julio Rodriguez had a great year. I thought Rutschman should have just got a little more
love in the voting.
Yeah. NL side, Harris won. Congratulations to him. I thought Donovan had a really good year, too. Strider, I think, was the more dominant player. He broke records. He was just dominant. And if it wasn't for an injury down the stretch, I think that just kind of lost the taste in people's mouths when he didn't pitch down the stretch and he came out for that playoff game not ready and gave up a couple runs to the Phillies.
Right.
But you can't really go wrong with either Brave there.
No, those were the two I definitely, Brendan Donovan, for all credit, he had a great year, but I thought Harris and Strider were the two front runners.
You needed Harris, you needed Strider. Cardinals really could use Donovan. I don't know if they needed Donovan.
Right.
I don't know if he made that impact, right? And he was really good, don't get me wrong. But like Harris and Strider, Braves needed those guys. And then on the other side, Kwan, Cleveland really needed there. Julio Rodriguez, literally they needed him because otherwise they would have missed the playoffs because they missed it for 30 straight years, it feels like.
Right.
And Rutschman, it was the team.
Yeah.
They had like 20 wins. Rutschman came up and they were in the playoffs. Or right in there for just playoffs. So,
yeah, he's the key to that Oriole team.
Yeah,
he really is.
So, exciting young 6 players right there. And all different types of players. All different types. Catchers, pitchers, fast, power, utility guys in Donovan's case. It's a great mix.
Yeah, absolutely. So they had some good rookies there, 6 great rookies, which is really good to see. The next award is Manager of the Year. I thought it was kind of tilted. Like I thought AL was a little bit more of a crapshoot. NL was a bit of a strange picking, but AL Manager of the Year was Terry Francona, Brendan Hyde, and Scott Servais for the Mariners. I have Scott Servais or Service winning it. I just think with them, the Mariners finally making the playoffs, I just think they'll give it to him. I think Brendan Hyde is your alternative. I think he was the other one I would have probably given a vote for the fact that the Orioles were supposed to be terrible and they ended up being almost wild card contenders. So kind of hard to pass that up. But I have it going to the Mariners, Scott Servais. I think he did a great job down the stretch for that team. And I think that if they didn't run into quite the train that the Astros was, I think they could have actually done a little better in the playoffs. But over the NL side, you have Dave Roberts, Buck Showalter, and Brian Snitker. I just thought this was a kind of an unexciting set of guys because they all had the best teams. It wasn't like they had to do much. But I went with Buck Showalter just because I think the Mets had a lot more to prove. Dodgers had already been there, done that. Dave Roberts, had been there, done that. Brian Snitker won the World Series last year, has a great roster, been there, done that. Buck had to come in after some time not managing with a Mets team that with a new spending owner, with a lot of expectations, and having not met them quite a few years now, I think Buck had the biggest task ahead of him, and of course it's Buck Showalter. Of course he was going to do it. So I have him winning in the NL side. I have Scott Servais winning it in the AL side. I wouldn't give much consideration other than Buck in the NL, but the AL, my other guy would be Brendan Hyde. I could see winning it because, again, what did they finish?
83
it was like
79, I think they were.
It was like a 30-win jump from last season. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was absolutely ridiculous. So I think Frank, don't get me wrong, Francona's a Hall of Famer probably, but yeah, I just think the other two guys had a little bit more of a task ahead of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I had Hyde winning just because Who is he? Where'd he come from? What is it? The team's terrible. And all of a sudden, they're in the playoff hunt. Exciting. Excited the fan base. Excited baseball. Excited, it had fun playing baseball. And Service, he got the Mariners to the playoffs. That's the reason he might win. I think Hyde's going to win. That's who I had picked. I think Service because they got to the playoffs, broke that drought and things like that. But I don't know. I feel like he's, especially his decision-making there in the playoffs themselves, and the bad start to the year, kind of questions what they did there. But Hyde, I thought, was like,
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you literally can't have scripted a better year for the Orioles out of the blue. National League side, I think the National League Manager of the Year is Robbie Thompson.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he wasn't even put on here.
It's just such an unexciting set of guys to pick from.
David Roberts, I actually think that he should be the last manager to ever be picked for Manager of the Year coming off this year. You had almost broke the record for wins, and you got knocked right out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't.
How could you be Manager of the Year and you got knocked out of the playoffs and you were the best team that's ever been assembled?
Yeah,
he should have been like last. So let's name our best 15 managers here for the National League. Okay, well, let's start the end. David Roberts is last. All right, so he's not getting it. That's how that should have went.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure how it didn't. Him and Girardi should have been neck and neck this year for the worst manager.
Yeah.
Because he did nothing. You got knocked right out.
Yeah.
Immediately got knocked out.
Yeah, with the best team, really a team that was steamrolling everyone.
Yeah.
There shouldn't have been a
division
contest.
opponent.
Yeah.
And you never had a shot. I don't know. I thought that was just dumb.
Yeah.
Showalter, you could say similar, right? They got knocked right out, 100 wins. I get that. I get it. But where were the Mets last year? Not good. Were anyone joking about the Mets this year? People laughing at the Mets? Not really.
No.
How about the last 5 years? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the difference.
Yeah, Buck.
Yeah. And Snicker, they won last year. This year they did a really good job. I mean, they had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
But just Robbie Thompson.
Yeah, I don't know how
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I think Robbie Thompson. I mean, I'm lost. How it's not Robbie Thompson there.
Yeah, or at least a finalist. I just don't.
Yeah. There's no one else. Bob Melvin, I think would be a good one.
Yeah.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the guys they put out there are really the best. They're good managers, other than Dave Roberts, the other two. But I don't know. I picked Buck there to win. He deserves it. He really had the Mets better than where he found them. But I think Rob Thompson really should win now. I was upset how that transpired.
Yeah, I agree. But again, it's just unexciting set of three guys. They didn't really have to overcome much. Buck the most, and that's why I picked them. So, move on to the Cy Young awards here. For the AL side, it's Dylan Cease, Alek Manoah, and Justin Verlander, all great pitchers. And you could really just toss a dart and hit any of them, and you could probably win it. But I have Verlander winning. I think Verlander's going to win it because it's just the ERA. Cy Young is just the ERA title anymore. No matter how many innings you pitched, as long as you qualified, you're good to go. Granted, Verlander had a great year. Coming off of Tommy John, I think that for what he had to do, he pitched great. Helped carry the Astros. I think he is the Cy Young guy. I think he's definitely going to win it. The other guy I could see, Cease and Manoah had comparable years and had great years. Maybe Manoah. I like Manoah a lot, personally, as far as a pitcher. So I could see him winning it. But I guess I could just as easily see Cease winning it because he had a great year. So I guess there's a little bit more of a conversation here because the NL side, I don't even need to talk about Alcantara as the Cy Young. And I'm not even really going to hear any other argument. No,
you're not going to hear from
I'm not really even going to get into it because he's the Cy Young. He's everything you want in a pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't know how it could be anyone else. Yeah, listen, Julio Urias had a great year. I like Julio Urias. Really was the backbone of that Dodgers rotation because they had all kinds of problems going on. But he's just not an inning eater like Alcantara was. And not for nothing, but Alcantara having as many wins as he did on a Marlins team, Julio Urias would have probably would have broke the 30-win mark if he had Alcantara's if he pitched like Alcantara this year. So
yeah.
But yeah, I have Alcantara winning. I think he's going to win it, and I have Verlander in the AL. I think he's going to win it.
Yeah, I think in the AL they're going to give it to Verlander. Sure, he had a good year, but I don't know.
Well, he only pitched 175 innings.
Yeah,
right. He just met the threshold.
I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the AL Cy Young. I think your AL Cy Young is probably Ohtani.
That would have been my vote if I had it, but
so I'm not sure they kind of messed up there. Manoah had a great year on my fantasy team. Dylan Cease had a great year, just didn't carry a White Sox team. Blue Jays, I mean, Alek Manoah, he was 4-0 with a .86 ERA or 8.5 ERA in September.
Yeah, right down the stretch. Yeah.
Verlander was good. Don't get me wrong. Just if it almost felt like you're pitching Verlander. Let's get me 5 innings. Let me get out of here. Like almost get his let's save his stats low. I almost felt like that when you're watching him pitch all year. It's almost like right when where you make a pitcher. How good's a pitcher? 5th, 6th, 7th inning.
Yeah.
When they're good there, that's when they're good pitchers. And when you take them out there, you're preventing. How good is he? I need my bullpen for 4 innings every day. And he was great. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't,
No, listen.
Out of those 3 pitchers, if I had to pick a guy I wanted to face him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Am I wrong there? If I really had to face, I don't want to face Dylan Cease. He's gonna strike 30 of my guys out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to face Alek Manoah. He's 6'6". He's gonna strike everyone out.
Mm-hmm.
Verlander's gonna pitch 5 innings. All right, maybe he dominates me for 5 innings. All right, I got 4 innings out of the other idiots. That's kind of how I felt. He had a great year. Don't get me wrong. I picked him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they love him. I think they're going to give it to him. I think he had 100 innings. They were going to give it to him.
Yeah.
National League side, Sandy Alcantara. And my reason for that being is if you had those 3 guys and you pitched Max Fried, I'd laugh in your face. If you had those 3 guys and you pitched Julio Urias, you wouldn't be a manager in baseball. If you had those 3 pitchers, Sandy Alcantara is pitching you a game 7. I got to win. It's him.
I agree.
If you had a pick out of those 3 years, these 3 seasons, you're picking him because of the way he pitched. What do you have, 5, 6 complete games?
I think he had 5 or 6. Yeah.
1 run, 9 innings against the Dodgers. I mean, look what he did. Look at his division. He faced the Mets 6 times this year. I think he was 5-1 with a 1 ERA against them.
Yeah. Had to face the Braves. Had to face the Phillies. Only had one easy team. It was the Nationals. Yeah,
the other easy team in that division's him.
Yeah.
His team.
He's already on
the Nationals, who he did shut out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was dominant. He was absolutely dominant. If it wasn't for the 1 start against the Dodgers, where he did give up 6, 7 runs in 2-3 innings.
Yeah.
He's got a 1.9 ERA. What are you going to give? You're going to give to Julio Urias because he had a 2.14 ERA?
Yeah, I mean,
and Alcantara 2.22 or 2.25? Is that really the reason?
Yeah, that'd
he
be
had 230
ridiculous.
innings, 6 complete games.
And how many strikeouts? I mean, Jesus.
He had 200 strikeouts. He had more strikeouts, more innings. Wins are probably comparable.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sandy had 13 wins. What did Urias have? 17?
I think he had quite a few wins. I
think he had 17. I think he had 20 last year. And he didn't win 20 again. I think it was 17 wins.
Yeah.
ERA, he was a little bit better. Wins, he's a little bit better. Strikeouts, the other guy. Innings, the other guy. Better team is him.
Mm-hmm.
Take Sandy off the Marlins. They might not win any games.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy on the Dodgers, he wins 30 games.
And to be able to throw complete games in this day and age, that many, is just
every day. He pitched every day.
Mm-hmm.
When he had a pitch, he never got pushed back. He pitched every time. He got pitched every time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got me. 120 pitches. He's pitching 100 the next day.
Mm-hmm.
When next start, he have what do you have? 8 straight starts with 7+ innings.
Probably, yeah.
I think it was 8 straight.
It's crazy.
And the one he didn't, I think he went for 6 1/3. And then look what he did in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But he pitched 2 innings there, struck everybody out. He's the best pitcher.
He's got great shit.
He's the best pitcher in the National League. And these other schmucks to me.
Yeah.
In this comparison.
Yeah.
Max Fried, I was surprised that he was announced. And Urias, if he wins it, it's an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke.
I agree.
I'd rather have Josh Hader be up there.
Yeah, really.
Urias did nothing. 6 innings and fly. For what?
He's really like the NL Verlander, That was great for your 5 or 6 innings, but he wasn't
on an All-Star team. Like on schmucks.
Yeah.
Your best team you faced was the Padres? All year?
Yeah.
Giants? Ooh. The Rockies? Go, okay, give me a break. And the Diamondbacks? Oh, wow, you really wilded up out there. You faced nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sandy Alcantara, I feel like they're going to pick Urias because they love the Dodgers and they love everything about him. But Sandy Alcantara is the easy Cy Young, and I don't think it's even close.
I agree. I don't think it's really a discussion.
Sandy Alcantara is the best pitcher out of the 6 on the Cy Young ballot.
I agree.
It's not even close. I think Sandy Alcantara is just about the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think it's even close there.
Nope.
He's dominant.
I just don't see how you don't give it to him. I just don't.
Yeah. So it's gonna be disgusting when the baseball gives it to idiot for the Dodgers.
To Arias, yeah. I mean, I just don't think but they love if you lead in ERA, that's like their favorite thing. So, and they ignore everything else. But let's move on to the MVPs. The last category we have here, the AL side. In my opinion, I don't even think it's close. I know people like to give, it's Aaron Judge, Ohtani, and Yordan Alvarez. I know the Ohtani argument. I get it, but Aaron Judge is your MVP. I don't even care. NL side, Paul Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Manny Machado. If not for Goldschmidt getting a little cold towards the end of the month and stats getting a little bit more comparable with the other guys,
that's a walk. That would've been a walk
I
in
think
the park.
I think it's literally like Judge and Goldschmidt, and it's not even a conversation.
No.
I think you can have a little bit more of an argument now with Goldschmidt having a little bit colder, but I'm still going with Goldschmidt. I still think he's your guy. He was the best player in the league almost all season, in all of MLB, just about. So
After the first couple of weeks, he did struggle to start the year.
that's right.
But give me why Machado would be MVP.
Yeah,
Batted 298,
he had
30 home runs.
he had a good year.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was actually pretty much for a lot of the year the cornerstone of that Padres
Sure,
offense.
he was really good, and
You know?
I don't mind Machado. I think he's a finalist for sure. Give me Arenado's reason. Well, he had 30 home runs, he had 100 RBIs, he plays great defense, and the Cardinals were really good. Well, Goldschmidt had more RBIs, better batting average, more home runs, and played just as well as defense if you want to go by his stats. He was a Gold Glove first baseman, even though he didn't win the Gold Glove this year, right? Actually, I don't even know if he won the Gold Glove this year.
I don't know.
He's got so many of them over there.
Yeah.
I
He
just
probably
think-
had most stolen bases out of these guys too.
Yeah, he just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't really. Nothing's gonna say that he doesn't win it. Like nothing's gonna. Oh, he takes this over. He had more
Right.
home runs. He had more this. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing here, right? And the AL side, it's Aaron Judge. Yordan being a finalist over Jose Ramirez is quite surprising. Very surprising. And Ohtani, I think he's not the MVP.
No.
He's not the most valuable player. If you want to go by that, people go by that. You take him off the team, they missed the playoffs by 40 games. You put him on the team, they missed the playoffs by 38 games. So
Yeah.
what's the big deal? Well, he pitches and does this, right? Judge had a higher WAR at one position than he had at both positions. Judge broke the record for home runs in the AL. Judge had a better average, more home runs, more RBIs, probably a similar stolen base record, probably less errors, even though Ohtani hasn't played the field. What? Because he pitches.
That's literally the only thing. He does everything worse than Judge, but he pitches.
And you know what the craziest thing is? He shouldn't have won MVP last year. And they had to give him MVP last year because we have to give Ohtani MVP last year. If you didn't give him MVP last year for no good reason, you could have actually put an argument this year to give him MVP. You did it to yourselves. Because last year, he was not MVP. He had a mediocre year. Go ahead. You can argue with me. Come beat me up if you want. He was a 260 hitter last year with 40 home runs. How many times have we seen that in baseball? Probably 150 times. Go look at Vlad's year last year. How many times have you seen that? Probably not many. Go look at Judge's year this year. What did Ohtani bat this year? 271?
I don't even think it might not have even been that high, to be honest.
30 home runs?
Yeah, I don't think he got 40.
100 RBIs?
Maybe.
How many times have we seen that?
Just this decade, just
You're
in the
done
2020s.
with better than him offensively. Defensively, he doesn't play.
Yeah. No.
So he's a DH. Oh, wait, no, he's not a DH. Wait, so DH... Wait, we like DHs now or we don't like DHs? Because we didn't put him in the Hall of Fame for the longest time because they didn't play the field. But we're going to give him an MVP because he didn't play the field? Okay, got it. And he's a good pitcher. So why isn't he a Cy Young?
Yeah, he's not a Cy Young finalist.
So where are we at? Because I could have just threw a Judge on the mound for an inning. Would that have covered it?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Ohtani had a good year, but he didn't. I don't know. He didn't do anything. To me, offensively, he was just another average guy.
Right.
Pitching, he had a good pitching year. I think he could have been a Cy Young finalist. I really do. I think he could have been a Cy Young finalist.
I agree.
I just don't think offensively and in the WAR, Judge is better.
Yeah, by playing one position.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a Judge fan. I'm just not an idiot.
Yeah.
He's the better player. I don't think it's close.
No, I don't think it's close either, really.
I don't think it's close. I don't think. And then most valuable player. Take Judge off the Yankees, they don't win a game. Take Ohtani off the Angels, and they're 2 games worse. We were terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible with him, terrible without him. What's the matter? I don't know. I think your Don should have a better shot than Ohtani. And Jose Ramirez should have a better shot than Ohtani.
Yeah, really.
They carried their teams.
Mm-hmm.
Ohtani didn't do anything. His year was just average. 30 home runs and 260, 270. You could find 15 guys in the league who did that this year.
Give Schwarber a better average. He did that, you know?
Yeah. Last year he wasn't. Again, last year, what do you have? 40-something home runs last year. I don't understand. I hope they don't do what the stupid things they're probably gonna do, because they're probably gonna do. If I had to break this all down for you, Francona wins AL. Roberts wins that. Verlander will probably win. You know, whatever it is. Urias, he'll have that locked up. Ohtani will win that, and probably Machado would win that. Those are just awful.
Yeah, this is all the worst.
And that's
picks.
what the MLB and the writers will do, because they'll come up with some stupid idea. So, but I think Judge should win the AL MVP. I think it's not even close. I think he should win first, second, and probably third.
Yeah, yeah, he really was.
And then Ohtani might be fifth. And Goldschmidt should be MVP. If it wasn't for a cool September there, I mean, he walked away when he was a Triple Crown.
He almost had Triple Crown. Yeah, probably
As
would have
did
had it too. Yeah, Judge had the Triple Crown, right? He led the league and
Lost by 4 points.
Yeah,
Average 5 points.
And led by a lot in home runs and RBIs.
Yeah.
You know, so I just
made
don't.
the playoffs.
And stole a lot of bases. Probably stole just as many as Ohtani, if not close, comparable, because Ohtani does steal a lot of bases. It's just, to me, I get the argument that Ohtani, yeah, he's a two-way player. It's hard to even judge his value. But I don't think Judge is one of the best offensive seasons we've ever seen.
Take Ohtani's bat off the Angels lineup. Where are they?
Add it with if you want to do WAR, add it with an average bat. And
take his pitching off the Angels. Where are they?
Still in the same spot.
Out of those three hitters, which one do you not want to face? Probably maybe the 313 hitter who had 62 home runs, or maybe the 308 hitter who had 30 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the 260 hitter with 30 home runs. I'll face him.
Yeah, right.
I'll give it a shot. I ain't facing Judge.
No.
Or you're done. Ask the Phillies how that went.
Yeah,
you're
right,
done.
right.
Worked out well. What, are you stupid? Yeah, I don't know. I think that should be an easy call, but I agree. You kind of get scared about stupidity.
Yeah, I just don't. Again, I think Goldschmidt and Judge are your guys, and I guess there's a little bit more of an argument in the NL side, but the AL side to me is locked up. Should be unanimous, but I know it's not going to be. So
no. And if Ohtani wins this year, he wins every year for the rest of the time.
If he wins this year, I don't want to hear any excuse that he can't win, because Judge literally put up an almost unbeatable season for MVP.
One of the greatest offensive seasons ever put together.
Yeah, so I don't know how. If Ohtani wins, then Ohtani could literally just walk out on the field and have a mediocre year in both pitching and hitting, and he'll win it every year.
God forbid he has a team that actually makes the playoffs and he bats 100 in playoffs. Although we don't talk about that.
Yeah, right.
So you don't need to be valuable to your team. You could just be useless.
Right.
That's my thought here. You can just take Ohtani off the Angels and they're useless, and you put Ohtani on the Angels and he's useless. So what do you need him for?
Yeah.
Paying him to be useless.
Right.
Oh, he had a good year. We were useless. I don't know. We weren't competitive. I don't know what you.
Yeah.
You know, you could have. You know, it was the concept they had with Andre Dawson years ago.
Yep.
Oh, why should he win MVP? You know, they're useless. Well, he hit better than them. So.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. We'll see. We got awards coming out. You know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. It should be exciting. There's a lot of close races, but there's also some races that really shouldn't be that close. And after seeing these Rookie of the Year ones not really be that close, even though I thought there could be a lot closer, I kind of feel like some of these ones should be a runaway.
Yeah, or they could get dicey for some reason. I don't know. The writers sometimes are a little weird. I don't know.
There are a lot of weird, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the last thing I got here is a trivia question. And the trivia question, who was the oldest Cy Young winner? With Verlander possibly winning, and he would become like the 5th oldest Cy Young winner, give or take. Who was actually the oldest Cy Young winner? And it will be history. The answer is, in 2004, Roger Clemens with the Houston Astros won the Cy Young at 42 years old and 60 days. Second place is 1978 Gaylord Perry with the San Diego Padres. He was 40 years old and 17 days.
Not surprised. Not surprised neither of those names.
No.
You know?
No. Those are, yeah. I bet you they pitched more than 170 innings.
Yeah. Especially Gaylord Perry back in the 70s and stuff. Those guys pitched like... Yeah, he didn't care either.
I don't know about Gaylord Perry in their playoff status, but Roger Clemens, they went to the World Series, right? In 05 they went to the World Series, actually.
Yeah, 05 was the World Series year for them. World Series run, yeah.
If you won Cy Young, I imagine they were pretty competitive.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
And they went to the World Series the year before that, or the year after that. I'm sure they were probably right in the thick of things.
Yeah, Craig Biggio and the fellas.
Yeah, the Killer Bees, right? Berkman, Biggio. The Puma? Was Big Puma there?
He probably was, I would assume, right?
Pettit was there.
Yeah, pretty good team.
But they did have a good team.
Would you have Billy Wagner maybe?
Morgan Ensberg,
Oh my
man in
God!
center field, I think.
Jesus Christ!
I think Jeff Kent was there.
He might have been.
I think he was when they went to the World Series.
He might have been.
Yeah. Brad Ausmus might have been the catcher of that team too.
Oof. It's a hell of a team though.
I can't think of who else the catcher was for that team.
I couldn't tell you. Some schmuck.
Brad Lidge might have been pitching for
Yeah. I don't know.
So, I don't know. But that's all I got here.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. We'll come in the next week with some more off-season stuff. Maybe we'll see some signings here. I believe we only seen just Edwin Diaz get signed. It was a big contract right off the rip.
There's a couple small moves so far. We'll talk about that. We kind of been saving them all. We don't want to blow them out here and then do it again next week.
There's really not too much to go over. So unless you got any final notes or anything, I guess we could just wrap this one up.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. You can catch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, as well as Google Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel, as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.